So I have like totally 15 years experience into IT, and I do have all the experience in operations, network security operation and design, and endpoint security and cloud networking. So these are the emerging technologies. So these are I am working on currently. But apart from that, I have experience on the mainly expertise into network security. So and I hold PCNSE and AWS Solution Architect Associate. So these are all certification I'm holding of. Just a brief introduction, right? So I'd like to pause here, and I'd like to know from the students that what are they like whether they have anyone have worked with the Fortigate firewall, and if no, right? So like anything and what you are expecting from the class, right? So so if anyone can unmute and just to start with the intro so that it will be interactive.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
Actually, yeah, I'm Aishwarya. Actually, I'm working in Bits and Byte. Actually, we are working in on particular devices only. And now I'm a fresher. Now I joined in company from past 3 months back. And now I want to know what are all the things we are using in Fortigate. And I don't know how to use that. I have only theoretical experience. So
Okay.
I want to know like what are the things are going on work in Fortigate and PaloAlto also we are using.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Good.
have project of Fortigate. So I want to know what and all the things are covered in Fortigate.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure, Ashwara. Thanks for your information. So, so is my screen is visible, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
visible.
Okay. Okay. So, like as you know, right? So many of the people they are using with like if they want to secure the network, they want to use some firewalls, right? And that's where these main leaders, right? As per the Gartner quadrant, you might be hearing that Gartner quadrant, which is evaluates uh, the best vendors out of the capability and the latest technologies. So based upon that, these Fortigate and Palo Alto firewall is the leader. So and I see right. So in others also like they'll be using the Fortigate and Palo Alto. So let if anyone else they want to share the opinion and what they're expecting from the class. So that will be helpful. We have time. So
Hi
feel free to
everyone.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Asim from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Hi,
Um,
Asim.
Actually, I'm end user support now, but I'm trying to develop myself to be a security engineer. In my current company, we are using Fortigate, so I want to have some experience, and I want to know introduction about this solution, so
Okay.
I can be a network or security engineer in the future. Sorry if my
Okay.
language is not clear because I'm native in Arabic.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So as you said, like you want to know on the configuration since you have moved recently to the firewall technologies to work on that. So you want to know on that. So that is the latest this one. So trend. And now since everyone is moving to the all the network security features, so you will be learning all the things like basically what and all we'll be covering is that like what is firewall and how we can build it, configuration, troubleshooting. So basically we cover all these things, right? It's from basic to advanced level training that we'll be doing that. Okay. Yeah. So just want to know, thanks Azim for sharing your expectations. So I would request if anyone else wants to share. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Raj. My name is Deb Singh.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm working in JLR as a network security and network engineer. Like I'm working on the Cisco Wireless, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, and ASA. So currently, what we are doing, we are moving on the Fortigate. We are replacing with the Fortigate, and we are removing the ASA firewalls. So that's why,
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to join this course. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, this is also one of the use case, right? They were suggested. So, like the migration, right? So whenever there is a migration happens, so you have to move to the latest technologies, right? From the old ASA firewalls to the all the other FortiGate or Palo Alto, right? So these two are the leading one. Even Cisco also having the Cisco FTD firewalls. So, but FortiGate is compared to the Cisco ASA firewall. FortiGate is GUI friendly, so that is the reason many people will be using the FortiGate firewalls. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And we'll be continuing with the session. So I think got the opinion from everyone. So let me briefly start with the session. So we cover the basically the introduction to the FortiGate firewall. So this is our content. I'm just going through overview of all the contents, and then I will start with the demo of the how we can connect and the topology, and one of the lab I will show you today, and how we can troubleshoot it. That also I will show you. So those are the things that I'll be planning that today. So, first one is introduction to firewall, FortiGate firewall, right? So basically, why we are using the FortiGate firewall? What is the difference between the FortiGate firewall? So which is basically the next generation firewalls, right? So which will support many features, right? It's like firewall. Basically, firewall means to allow the traffic or to deny the traffic. So VPN, right? So to allow the secure communication over the two parties, right? And IDS, IPS, right? So these are the simple terms, right? This you see, but there is a lot of technical depth is there, right? So, so IDS is like intrusion detection system. IPS is intrusion prevention system. So IDS will detect the attack from the outside or inside, and IPS will be preventing that. So this is the mainly features of the next generation firewalls, which is the FortiGate firewall also. So then there is a antivirus. So how we can prevent the virus. So those things we'll be covering that. And then web filtering. So how we can prevent the uh, web filtering, right? Basically, if you don't want to allow any social networking or any kind of a category website, so how we can do that. So, and then there is a application control. So all these things we'll be covering that in depth in the session. So then there is a packet flow, right? So today we'll be covering on the packet flow on the high level. So there are models, hardware models, and everything is there. So let's start with the packet flow that is there. So in the FortiGate firewall, so that it is clear. As any firewall you take, right? So the first step is to learn how packet will flow through the firewall, right? So that is the first step, right? So you take Cisco ASA or any firewall. So here, so this is a uh, draft page, or this is a page that we got from document only, like Fortinet document only. So this is acting as the reference only, right? So most of the modules will not be there. It is not required, but I am just telling you on the whichever the important ones. So I will cover that in this one. So firewall, there are two things, right? If anyone is not knowing, right? So the packet, right? So we call that as the packet whenever this, whenever the any packet that is coming to the interface. So that's like we call that as a packet. There are different layers are there in the OSI model. right? So there is a physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, right? So like this, there are many layers are there. OSI model, if you know the OSI model, then the packet will come at the network layer, right? So and then so once it comes at the firewall, right? So there is a ingress and there is a egress. So these two terms are different, right? So ingress means it's towards the incoming, right? Egress is outgoing traffic. So these two are the we have to remember whenever it is out egress, we call that as egress means from the firewall it is outside. Ingress means to the firewall it is a inside, right? So just so that is what is the ingress and egress means, like to the firewall and from the firewall you can define that whenever traffic is going to the firewall. So that is called as the ingress one, and then from the firewall to the outside world, right? So that is called as the egress. So this is what is the definition of that ingress and egress. So once the packet comes to the interface, so on the network interface inside, it will check that any errors are there or anything. So on the TCP IP also it will be checking. So then there is a DOS policy, right? So what is DOS? So is anyone know what is DOS?
Denial of service.
Yeah.
Distributed denial of
So
service.
what exactly? Yeah. So DDoS is distribute denial of service, right? DOS is denial of service, right? So just DOS means it's a denial of service only. Distributed denial of service is advanced version of DOS. It is completely different concept. So DOS actually making sure that to unavailability of the service, right, of any server. So it will make sure that the legitimate users will not be able to access to the server. So that is nothing but the DOS, denial of service. So it is making the denial, right? The denial. So you make me deny, right? So I am making deny of the service, right? Denial of the service to the legitimate users, right? So that is nothing but the DOS. So that one will be checked actually if we have to configure this DOS policy in case if we want to yeah.
I can't see anything.
So
Just
so
near
in the
Your voice is breaking.
yeah, is it clear now?
not yet.
Not yet up. Even I can see your screen.
Yeah. Well, I'm not able to see your screen.
Is everyone facing the same issue? Because
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we are also facing the same issue.
screen
Yeah,
share
yes.
option here and
Yeah, your screen
Yeah.
is visible to me now.
okay, okay, okay. So let me go through slowly, right? So that people understand it and let me be clear also, right? So DOS policy, we want to make sure that this legitimate users access to the servers. So that is why we want to establish the DOS policy, right? So next one is the IP integrator check, right? So if there is any header issues with the IP, so then it will be checked in this module, and then it will be taken action for that. So
Hello.
Your voice is
Sorry to
still
interrupt.
breaking.
Actually, we are unable to hear your voice breaking.
Yes.
okay, let me stop
Yeah.
share. Let
Yeah.
me reconnect back.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Trainer is rejoining once again due to some internet connectivity. So please be there.
Okay, no issue.
Hello. Hi everyone. Is my voice is clear now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So next one is the IPsec VPN decryption in the flow, right? So whenever we want to establish the communication to the other peer, right? So we have the main office and we have the branch office, right? And we want to establish the communication, secure communication, right? So that time we will be using the IPsec VPN. So it is follows the concept of the confidentiality, integrity, and authenticity. So all these will be followed on the IPsec. So we'll be seeing the configuration of that. And then there is a admission control is there. So this will take care of uh, the captive portal, which is nothing but the accessing the SSL VPN users or authentication purpose. So those one will be taken care by the captive portal. So right, and if any IP, right, so that is making that that is marked as the quarantine in the admission control. Quarantine, like in a sense, right? So it is not legitimate traffic. So that time we'll make that as the quarantine one with the help of the admission control. So that is also taken care by the this admission control here. So next one is the main thing, which is here kernel one, where it will have the different modules uh, to process the traffic. So one is the destination NAT. So this one is basically whenever any traffic is going through the firewall, we want to change the destination of that. So that will be called as the destination NAT. NAT is nothing but network address translation, right? So let me take a pen so that I will explain it clearly. So here you have the firewall and here you have the internet and inside there is a user, right? Right. So this is just the one of the sample example I have given, right? So and here we want to, so there is a user here, right? And they want to access the users or the server, right, sitting here, right? So that time they'll come like this, right? And so think that this is the web server. This is a web server, right? And they want to access this one. So that time what will happen? They will not be able to access the directly to the server because of the security one. So that what they will do, they'll come here and they will have the IP here. There will be a public IP which will be assigned here. So they will directly access the public IP, right? Public IP which is routable via internet. So there is a private IP which is not routable via internet, right? There is a public IP which is routable. It could be interface IP or it could be public pool which the company has reserved. So they come here, they access that, and firewall will do the, for this source, this is the destination, it will do the destination NAT, right? Whenever user access this public IP, right, some A, right, it will translate to B. So, so source remains the same, destination will change. So that we call as the destination NAT, right? So this is on the destination NAT. So there is a next one is routing, right? So how all the things will be taken care here, right? So there will be routing required for the firewall to go out, right? And for the users to come in, right? And there are multiple devices also will be there here. So there's a router or there is any firewall here, right? And here also there will be a, at the other end also there will be a firewall or router. So based upon setup, so that will be there routing. So routing is nothing but to send the packets from one endpoint to the other endpoint, right? So here in the routing, there will be static routing, there will be dynamic routing. So everything will be taken place here, right? So if you have not configured the routing, the packet will get dropped, right? So and we will be covering the SD-WAN, which is the latest technology where many people are using now. So we'll be covering that. Then there is a stateful inspection, policy lookup, session management, right? So once all the interface lookup, everything happened here, so there will be a session that is created at the firewall, right? So we call that as the session, right? Session that will be created at the firewall. So and in other firewalls they call as the connection tables, right? So here we call that as a session. So this session consists of the source IP, destination IP, source port, destination port, protocol, and interface, right? So these are all the parameters, right? So this one we call as the tuple. Tuple means six tuple, like six parameters. So that is called as the tuple one. Source IP, right? Destination IP, source port, destination port, protocol, and interface, right? So all these things we'll be seeing in the session, right? So that session setup will be done next, right? So session helpers, right? Session helpers in the sense, these are the, like if you are having voice traffic or anything, so that time there is a firewall will initiate the traffic again without initiating by the like that will to add on the session. So that is why we go for the session helpers. Okay. So next one is the user authentication, right? So we can integrate the firewall to the LDAP or local device or LDAP, right, or Radius. So any other third party authentication service provider. So we can have that integration and we can allow the policy based upon the users, right? So instead of the IP, we can allow the based upon the username. So that is their user authentication. And device identification, right? So this is the thing, but in your network, right, there are printers, phones, camera scans, right? So we can allow or deny basically based upon the device identification. So this is mainly concerned about the version. Also we have to look on the version whenever we define this device identification. So SSL VPN is next one, where the remote user located over one end of the internet, right? This is the internet here, and they want to access the resources, and so this is a firewall, and they want to access the web server here, right? So this is a remote user, and they want to access the resources here. So how we will do that, right? They were, because it is a cost effective solution to access the resources via here in the corporate network. But how do we do that, right? So that is nothing but the SSL VPN, right? So that one we'll see that. and local management traffic. So is it for the managing the firewall? What are the local devices? So that will be there. So that one we'll be seeing in this. It will be covered in the kernel. So then there are UTM and NGFW, next generation firewall features are there. So this one, like how firewall will takes place, right? So there are flow based inspection will be there, proxy based inspection, right? So how we can make that. So this one we'll be seeing that in the session. And basically here UTM or NGFW, right? So these are the extra additional features for the firewall, right? So that is nothing but the antivirus, web filtering, right? So application control. So all these things comes under the NGFW or UTM, right? So these things we'll be seeing that, and how the firewall will inspect the traffic, right? It is in the proxy or is it on the flow? So that is also we'll be seeing that. So that is nothing but proxy based inspection and flow based inspection. So next one is the kernel. So it goes to the kernel again of the 40 OS, right? So and then it goes to the forwarding. Then there is a source NAT, right? Source NAT will happen later. Initially destination NAT will happen, then later source NAT will be happened. So and then it encrypts the packet. So and then it goes to the other shaping, right? And WAN optimization. So all the egress interface it will go, right? So this is how the overall packet flow. So we will see this in detail once in the session also. So this is on the firewall packet flow. Next one is models, right? So whenever we want to use the firewalls, right, we want to know the different types of models, right? So before that, I just want to tell you something, right? So where like on the deployment point of view, right? So deployment point of view, let me share the topology so that that will be easier. Yeah. This is our topology for a reference I am taking, and similarly, like most of the organization, they'll follow the same topology, or it could be different based upon the organization capacity, cost, right, and the all the other parameters will be there. Right? So here you see here there's a 40, there is site A, site B, right? And this is site C, and there's a site D firewall, right? So these are four sites that we done the labs, right? And in that, so you see, there's a Fortinet firewall here. There's a Fortinet firewall here, right? So I was coming to the architecture, right? How you can deploy, right? So you see, there's site B, and they want to go to the outside to the internet, right? Of course, there is here is also internet, but in case think that this internet is not there, net means internet actually here. Think that this is not there, so the site B user here. So they want to go all the way to the internet, right? So that time they have to cross this firewall, they have to cross this firewall, right? So this kind of implementation, right? Two firewalls, right? One side we have Fortinet, another side we have Fortinet here, right? But in other organization or normally the recommended practices, you should have two different firewall. If you have Fortinet here, right? So I'll color code this one, right, so that it is easier to understand. So there is a Fortinet here, and you will be having some different firewall, right? It could be PaloAlto, right? Any other firewall, right? You can take it. So that the OS is different. This OS is different, and this OS is different, right? And if any attack from outside, right? So that will be OS related attacks. So if the Fortinet, if the outside firewall get compromised, so inside firewall will be there that will take care of that. So this is called as a two-tier architecture, right? So and then there will be in this one also there's again one more layer. So that is called as the one more like we call that as three parameters or three-tier architecture, right? So then that is called as the first one is the perimeter. perimeter, and then intermediate, then core. All right. So here there will be one more firewall, and there will be servers. Right. So here, how is the topology here? So this firewall will be having the web server. You see this firewall, perimeter firewall will be having the web server. Okay. This is the first layer, right? And intermediate firewall will be having the app servers. So this is intermediate firewall, right? So, and then this is having the some app servers, application servers, right? So those will be here, located here, right? So, and then this is a core firewall, right? So core firewall, which is having these servers, right? So servers as the DB, right? DB servers or NTP servers or DSCP servers, right? Whatever the services they offer to the organization here outside. So those one will be hosted in the core layer, right? So that it is very secure, right? So this is a depends on the security model which they want to introduce: perimeter, intermediate, core, three-tier architecture, like that. So like that you can think of, right? So and during this deployment, so there will be capacity constraint that will be coming. So which firewall or which model I need to deploy at perimeter firewall, right? Which model we need to deploy at intermediate at the core firewall, right? So that time, what we have to do, we have to go for the model evaluation, go for the specific specification of the right of the models, right?
Sorry, one question, please.
Yeah.
So we can consider that if we have a big enterprise campus with different locations, for example, connected with OSPF, so we have different areas, and we have the principal building with our data center and our servers. We can consider that we can put or configure a firewall in each one of these areas, for example, or each one of the buildings, or so SPF is connected within the firewalls, for example. It is correct.
No, you are telling that, right? So you are running the OSPF here, right? Outside here, 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 right? So that is what your query.
Yes, I'm telling that.
Yeah. So I did not understand your query actually, right? So because here and the outside everywhere, like we can run the OSPF dynamic routing protocol, that will be there, right? But firewall configuration, right? So you should know the architecture, right? So then it is easier for you to configure that, right? So it's a perimeter, intermediate, core, or only two tier is there, right? So if site A is connected to site B via, so I can configure the here OSPF, right? And so this site A can go ahead and talk to the this site C firewall behind this server, right? So like these things you can configure. So this could
Okay,
be
no,
same kind of topology will be query. Yeah.
yeah, no, I have talked about SPF, but I mean that each subnet, each location have its own firewall. So we
Yes.
connect firewalls with it, between them. It's that right?
Yeah. 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 So like that you have. So then there is a Fortinet firewall which is connected to the head office. So like that at each location, right? So there will be a firewall to have the separation of the traffic. Yeah.
So I understand that is the best practice.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. Yeah. Some people will not be knowing that, so I just thought of covering that, right? So, and then we go with the say model selection, right? So next one is the model selection, which will happen, right? So in case you want to secure the traffic, right? What are the parameters you need to look into, right? So there are parameters like, so concurrent sessions, right? And new session, firewall policies. It's firewall policies. This is one. You have to look that also. And concurrent SSL VPN users, right? So sometimes the users are more, right? Accessing through outside world, right? So and we don't know the number of users which is supporting, right? So that time, if you have selected the lowest model, so that time it will not be helpful, right? So and then application throughput. So all these things we have to check that. So these are the main things that you need to verify in the firewall model selection. So there are different models. Here if you see 30G, 40F, 50G, 70F. So these are for the branch level wherever you are having the remote sites. So you can deploy this one, the earlier ones, 70 to 120G. So this can be deployed there. So this is the next one is the intermediate or the mid-range of firewalls like 200 to 900. So where we have the good IPsec VPN throughput and firewall concurrent sessions, right? So these are the many things it is getting increased. So concurrent session in the sense, at the same time, how many sessions this firewall will allow, right? So currently you see 3 million sessions can be allowed, right? So if you see top below one, above one, there is 1.4 only it's supported. So like that. So and you should have a plan that after 5 years, right? So you see the growth, then you deploy these firewalls, right? So that is how you can uh, you can know that. And sometime in the operations, what happens? Say that so there are maximum gateway IPsec VP tunnels is there, maximum client to gateway IPsec tunnels is there. So this one, if you take, right, so there is a number of IPsec VPN is 2000 max, right? So if it has been increased by any chance, right, any configuration is done over a period of 5 years, 10 years, then we do not know, then we configure additional one, then it will not be working, right? So that time we have to check it once all the sessions, all the parameters here for the particular model that you are using, then it will be clear, right? So similar case with a virtual domain or VDOM. So VDOM is nothing but you can have the separation of the firewall, right? So I have one firewall and I will be having the separate virtual domains. It is not a physical one, it's a virtual domains. Like for prod, I want to have a separate interfaces, right? So you see here. So this firewall is there, right? So this firewall. So I want to have prod, there is a separate one, and non-prod, there is a separate traffic, right? So that time I can create port 1, port 3. These are different ports. So I can create the virtual domains for this one. And then based upon that, I will allow the traffic, right? So prod 1. So I'll create some complete segregation of that. So that is called as the VDOM.
It is like a BRF, for example.
Yes. In the router, we call that as a virtual router forwarding. And in the firewall, we call that as a VDOM, virtual domain actually. Yeah.
Okay,
And in
thanks.
ASA, it is a context actually. So like this. So these are the different this one, but for this one, license is required, virtual domain. So you should know that. So, and come again, scroll it again little bit, right? So you see the high-end models, right? So where we can deploy this one at the core level, right? Where we have database like a high database migration is going on, right? And the migration between the production and DR setup, right? So that is there. So that time use it high throughput, right? IPsec VPN, and everything, right? So you should go for the high 004800. So based upon that, you need to select the models. Right? So this is on the this one. So these are the other Forti manager. These are the other Fortinet devices which is there. So next one is we saw our topology here. Right? So let me like basically in the session, right? So I covered all of the this one, basically the basic configuration, everything in the models, like we covered it. So these are the things that we are covering. So these slides I skipped only because of that, since we covered on the firewall flow and the other topics, right? So we already covered all the things, like what and all we'll be covering. And now the lab setup for you will be like this. So the same lab, similar, right, exact lab will be given to you guys, right? And then you can replicate that labs. And then there are
Hello.
different that is given to
Actually,
you after each
we
topic
can't hear
Your
completion.
you.
voice is breaking.
Yeah. Is it not audible now? Or is it not audible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
we can
audible
hear
now.
you.
You're audible now.
Audible now. Okay. But till now you understood, right? We have any queries in that?
Topology you explained, right? That one we didn't hear. Can you explain one more time?
Okay. So on this models or on the firewall flow.
Not this one, that topology, like you created one topology, right? That one lab setup, yeah, this one.
Yeah. So this one we will be going through that. So this is basically site A, site B, site C, site D. These are the our main topology that we'll be doing across the labs, right? We replicate all the FortiGate firewall features, whatever is possible in the lab environment. So we'll replicate all of them, right? In this topology, right? So that is a one. The same lab setup will be given to you. So here I covered on the like the deployment point of view, basically perimeter, core, intermediate. That one we have seen, right? So that is a deployment architecture. So after that, so this is one of the module that we'll be getting, and then there is a PPT. So these are the your PowerPoint presentation. You will be getting that, like what is DNS, DHCP client, 48 commands, right? So interface zones. So all these things you will be getting that, right? So this is a PPT kind of this one, and then workbook, right? So mainly workbook, why it is important is that, say in the first lab we go with the initial setup and management access to the FortiGate firewall, right? So this one we will be seeing that how you set up that. Then DNS, how we can configure the DNS. So next one is the DHCP client and DHCP server, how we can configure that. Right? So and then initial setup, source NAT and firewall policy configuration. So like this, there are different models are there, how we can configure the different uh, concept in the firewall, right? So like that web filtering, application control, destination NAT, loss policy, and these are the security profiles, right? So which are there, which you can do that. And there is a VPN, right? So I'll show you one of the this VPN, right? So say route based IPsec VPN using IPsec wizard, right? This is one of the, I just want to show you that, right? So how we can configure that. So this is one of the workbook that you will be getting, right? So there is a for site C and there is a in the site C, right? So here you see site C is there, right? So whenever we do this lab, so you'll be referring that site C, and then you will be connecting via this. You'll be creating the route-based VPN using the IPsec wizard, right? So if you just scroll down, right? So it's just the configuration that you will be doing it in port 1, port 3, right? So and then this is IPsec tunnel, and then you click now and then create new, and then you go here in the IPsec tunnel, then you create it, right? So that is what is the thing, right? IPsec tunnel. So you provide the remote address, everything. So here everything is documented, and we'll replicate that during that class, and then you will be having the recording of that. Then you can refer that, and then you can duplicate it. And after the completion of the session, the PPT will be given to you. The workbook will be given to you. So like this, management branch, everything, right? And there is one more thing, right? So here, why I'm telling this, say rather than we just allowed the firewall, we created the VPN, everything, right? And we want to know that, say if the remote end, right? So this management branch or this site C management, right? So if these servers, right? So these are nothing but servers, right? So if these servers are restricting the traffic, right? By they have inbuilt firewalls, right? So if they are restricting, how we can allow those traffic, right? Because normally in the environment will not be having the access that, right? So here I've shown one of the example, right? So on the Windows firewall, how we can allow inbound firewall, then you create the inbound rules for the firewall with the Windows Defender firewall, right? So this is what is the uh, firewall system, right? So at the server level, not at the firewall, right? So there are some inbound traffic is already allowed. There are by default it will not be allowed for ping or anything, right? So whenever you want to check the connectivity, it will not be. So that time you will not be able to connect to that. So that's how once you allow that, so then you will be able to ping anything, right? So this is how we can see that, and there are commands, right? So diagnose VPN IKE status, right? So how the IKE, the phase one will be established that, right? So diagnose VPN IKE config, right? So these things will be see that. Okay. So this is IPsec statistics, right? So this is the second phase in the VPN. So this one will be seeing that what are the is it encrypting or not, decrypting or not, like that. So this is one of the labs that we will be seeing that, and SSL VPN policy based OSPF, right? And active to active passive SD-WAN configuration, right? So this is also there, right? So there is a active passive HA and there is a active HA. So this one, how we will make that. So all this will be duplicated in the configuration, right? So in your labs. So currently I am just logging into one of the device. So basically I'm just trying to show user one, switch, Fortinet and internet. This is a basic setup I'm showing you. Once you logged in, you have to change the password. Right. So I have already changed, right? So that is what it is given. And for this is the user one. User one is here. So I'll open again new session. So here the IP, right? 192.168.1.10 and 192.1.99, right? So this IP will be set by automatically because of the port one. So let us see that how it is set here. So if you go here, you have to open here and then open network and file sharing center. Go change adapter settings, Ethernet, properties. So you see, so actually we have configured here 192.168.1.10, 255.255.255.0, and the DNS server address, right? So This is the Google DNS. 8.8.8 is Google DNS. So 4.2.2 also Google DNS. So these DNS for the name resolution, we will configure that, right? So this is a manual configuration that we have done for the user one to get the access, right? So on for the default gateway is 1.99, right? So this is what is the main thing at the server level. Then if you see the configuration at the firewall, config system interface, then you go, then you see port one here, right? So the port one, edit port one, right? The port one, right? So here, if you see, it is showing DSCP, right? DSCP mode, right? So DSCP mode, it gets the client, right? So it can get the IP, but we are not configured the. Now you see, we'll not be able to ping to the port one, right? So let me try and do that. Whether we are able to ping or not. So this is a gateway, right? This is a gateway. We are not able to ping it, right? So earlier we are able to ping it because we have configured that gateway and everything. And the one more thing is here, whenever you do the lab, so these images, right? These images are they come with a default time, right? Like it could be 30 days, right? So or 20 days like that, or more than that, more than 30 days only. So after that, it will show an error that the license is not there. So you have what you have to do, come here and go to the node, right? This is our right. So you see here node, you can right click here anywhere, go to the node and go to here and you see Fortinet. Right? Fortinet is there, so you can select that Fortinet and then the image. Right? So you should go for the Fortinet FGT VM 64, right? Like this, right? So because sometimes it will show the licensing issue whenever you are creating, you are getting the access. So that time you can follow this method, right? So again, we'll be covering this in detail also, but I'm telling you what could be the uh, in the high level I'm telling you, right? For then you save it, then you get this image, and then you delete this one and you copy paste like this, right? You bring this one like this. Sorry. Yeah. So you can bring like this, right? So like this you can bring it, right? So this is what is the thing whenever you want to, whenever there is a licensing issue that has happened for these images. Right? So now you see we're not able to ping it, right? So what we have to do, this is a basic access, right? So we have to configure the edit port one, right? So you see we have set the mode as the DSCP. We have to change that and we have to configure the IP here, management access IP. Then we will be able to access the firewall, right? So that one I will be doing it. So I go here, edit port one. Right? Because since I'm in the config system hierarchy, interface hierarchy, I can do edit port one, right? This is what I can do. Then what I have to do, I have to set the IP to the static one for the management because it should not change. Right? Right. So set IP. Then we have to allow the give the IP. So in case if you don't know the commands, right? So you can just check here IP address, right? Net mask, it will show all of that, right? So you see like this. So now you can do what is the IP? 192.168.1.99/24. Right? This is what you can do, right? And enter it. So that's it, right? So you make it to static to get the IP, and then you already access is there. You see ping, HTTPS, SSH, HTTP, right? So all these access is there. That should be fine. Then like from here, what you have to do, you have to give hit enter end, right, to allow to get the configuration into place, right? So this is what you have to do. But if you are not pressing end, it will not be placed, right? So the configuration will not be placed. So whenever you do the CLA configuration, just make sure that you put end so that the configuration is pushed to the firewall, right? So now I go here, right? So now we're able to reach to the firewall, right? So now what I do, I go to the user one, I stop this one, right? And try to access the GUI. So it will be HTTP access that you have to do. And then there is the admin, and then there's a password. So I have already given the password for the lab purpose, but you should not do in the production environment. So this is a change your password, everything, specify host name, dashboard setup. You can do that. I'm just hitting later now. So every time you see this 7.00, right? So you should go for this documentation and then read the date completely whenever you are upgrading the image or downgrading the image, right? So which feature are currently supported by a firewall, which feature is not supported in this version, right? So those things you have to check it. So this is how you can see the dashboard, and there is a network policy object, security profiles, VPN, user authentication, log and report. So there are many other parameters is there. So here in the, sorry, the dashboard, so you see 48 host name, serial number, firmware version, right? It's a mode, right? So you see the mode, it is a NAT mode, right? Right. So it's a NAT mode, which is network address translation mode. The deployment, what are the deployment modes, right? It's a NAT mode is there. One more is a transparent mode is there, right? So, so NAT mode is the one where it'll have the public IP and it'll deploy in the NAT mode and is the default one, right? Transparent one is it is like we don't know that the firewall is there. The user doesn't know that firewall is there. It is transparent to the environment, but it still observe the traffic, right? It can take action on that. We can control the policies, right? So that time we'll go for the transparent mode deployment. There is a NAT mode, there is a transparent mode. These two are the different modes of deployment of the firewall, right? System time, right? Uptime and everything. So currently the WAN IP is nothing, right? We're not given any WAN IP. So, and then these are the licensing one. So we do not have the any licensing feature. This, especially on the cloud, Fortigate or anything. But we'll do the configuration, whatever is there, we can do the configuration on that. So you see administrator console, right? So whoever is logged in, right? It's console one, HTTP one, Forti Explorer. This is another kind of a login, right? So there are license features. It is given here. Security fabric. So these are things mainly, and there are some dashboard, right? This 40 is the one where we can add the multiple dashboards, right? So today just we just see this initial access and then initial configuration, right? So go to the interface. Right. Port one. So we have configured this one. Right. So in case I want to configure port 2 as the DSCP so that it get IP from the internet. right? So that time what I have to do, just go for the port 2. You can double click on that. So here port 2 is there, and you can give the name, the WAN. Right? And here there's a zone, right? So zone based concept also there. So you can just click on WAN here, right? And then you give the DSCP, right? So I don't want to get the IP, give the IP manually, right? So I can give the IP manually, like how I given now for the port 1. But instead of that addressing mode, I change it to DSCP so that this firewall will take the IP from the internet. So this is nothing but your internet, right? So like any ISP or any cloud, right? So in the EVNG image, this will be connected to internet, right? So and then we give the retrieve default gateway from the server. So we'll retrieve the gateway from the server itself. Distance is 5. This is static one, so that's why it is given 5. So we're not override internal DNS. No DNS we configured it. So just override internal DNS. And if I use administrative access, so I can able to ping or anything, right? So this is what we can do. But here we should not allow any, say this is a WAN interface, right? So we should not allow this any kind of this access, because if I allow ping here, so anyone from internet they can able to access it, because since ping is allowed, if they get somehow they get the attack, somehow they get the connectivity, so that time it will be there will be vendors or there will be multiple people that they will be interacting with in the organization. So we should not allow any access. Administrators, so we should not allow that. Right? So and then that's it. Right? So status is enabled, right? So we can enable or disable the interface. So I am making it enable. Okay, so click OK here. Yeah. It will take some time to replicate here. Meantime, you can check here also. You see, port 1, port 2, right? So this is a DSCP 1. This is the IP that it got it, right? So, so this is the IP, right? And port 2, right? DSCP mode, right? So this is what we have seen. One is static address mode of addressing. Another one is DSCP address kind of a mode, right? So subnet mask, right? And these are all the other parameters that that is there for the interface level configuration, port 3, right? So these are things that you can check on the get system interface. So the command is get system interface here in the CLI. Right? So now let me go back here, DNS, and then come back here, interface, or we can do refresh so that we'll be able to see the IP, right? Earlier the IP was not showing here. Now we are able to see because it takes some time for the reflection, right? So now the next one will be, right? So I want to access from port 1 to port 2, right? So that is a basic thing to allow the traffic. How do I allow it, right? So user one, so how it can allow the access to the outside world, right? So that is the next one, right? So, but as of now, you have seen that DSCP, how we can make the DSCP client. This is one of the labs was there, that one. And then how address configuration, initial management, right? So these are things, right? So now you want to allow the traffic, right? So go to the policies, firewall policy, So default, there is nothing will be there, right? So if you check implicit, right? So what is implicit? Implicit deny, right? Firewall will be denied everything, right? So no traffic will be allowed, right? So this is what is the thing. So now we have to create the policy, right? So to allow the traffic, create new, and you can create the policies. So in one policy, you can define NAT also here. So what I will give, I'll just give LAN to WAN, right? So I check here which is the interface. Say the port one, right? Port one is the interface, and outgoing interface will be port two. We have port two, right? Source one, so we can define address, user, internet services, everything. So I'll just define now all to allow all the traffic. So similarly, destination, right? So in case you want to allow only Gmail or anything, that is what you can follow here. So there is a internet service concept is there where you allow basically on the particular service, right? So that is also there. So currently I want to allow to everything to access. So I'll just give all service, say just want to allow ICMP or TCP, right? HTTPS, I don't want to allow have web access, right? So FTP access, there is a different FTP access, FTP protocol, email protocol, everything. So you have to control basically on this one also. So what you can do, so just I will just allow all now everything, right? So and inspection mode is flow based. I have selected. It's the default one. It is not changed actually. Proxy based will take the lot of memory. Flow based will not take that much of memory because it's a one session. It will just forward it, right? Proxy based, it inspect it, it breaks the session, right? It acts as the SSL terminator, right? Right, termination point for the proxy based one, right? So here it will act as the user one initiate to the outside. Fortinet break the session. It initiates a separate session to the outside. That is nothing but proxy mode. This another one where we have this flow based. It will not do that. Okay, it will just forward it based upon the all these condition check everything. Then there is a NAT, right? So here I want to do the source NAT, right? What I want to do, so just go to the I've enabled the NAT here. IP full configuration, take the outgoing interface IP, that is fine, right? Not doing any security profile now. So and then you can log the all session, right? And then say enable this policy, right? It's already enabled, so click OK for that. So we have done this one. Now if you see, so you should be able to, right? So we should be able to ping to the outside world, right? So that is what actually, right? We should be able to access to the outside world like that. So in case, right? So if I want to check that, right? So how do I check it, right? So I'll just do continuous ping, and what I will do, I will can disable the policy, right? Set status disable, right? So I can disable policy, right? So I'll just disable it. I'll check it, right? Is it going to affect anything, right? So you see the internet connection is getting dropped. So like this, you have to experiment each and everything, uh, all the features. Right? So you see currently there are bytes, anything it's showing. So you see the denied bytes, it is getting increased earlier. So if I'll just refresh this one, reload this page. Yeah, so this is what actually admin, and then we have seen the allow access, everything, right? And you see, right, on the Windows machine, right, how we can allow the network settings, everything. And so this is what actually can do it. This is a screenshot that will be helpful for everyone for understanding purpose. So that's why we have given that. And so you see this one, right, 14, right, nothing, no its counts are there. So like that. So this is how you can able to replicate the labs, right? So that's it from my end for today, right? So and I want to give it to all the students, right? Thanks for attending the session today, and let me know if you have any queries in the setup or in the technically. If you are having any queries, you can ask me.
Yes, sorry. To run this lab in our own machine, how many cores and how many memory do we have to configure in the VMware workstation, for example?
Yeah. So I think this one probably the backend team will assist you on that. Probably I think it is a 12 GB kind of a RAM that minimum I think it is required. I'm not sure about the exact specification of that. So you can check with the backend team. The our lab coordinator will
Okay,
we can get in touch with them. So they will help you to set up this lab.
okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
please be waited. I'll be giving you all the information.
Yeah. Sajid will be sharing actually. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Just to know that, right? So we'll be having all these kind of labs, right? So port channel, NAT mode, transparent mode, right? So all these labs that we'll be seeing that. So sometimes the FortiGuard license is required. So that time I have given that configuration how we can do that, but license is required. So in organization we'll be having that license, so you can do that same thing, right? So that's how we can. But I'm trying to cover all the concept which is possible to cover. That is how I given. So there are security profiles with FortiGuard license, and there is license needed, and there is right. So you see without license, without FortiGuard license. So these things also I have covered. How you can do with license and without license. SSL VPN, policy-based IPsec VPN, OSPF configuration. So SD-WAN is there. So this is one of the major this one. Whenever you see that SD-WAN configuration, how we can do it for the redundancy purpose that we'll be using that. So this is one of the setup for active HA, active how we can configure the different interfaces and part of that, right? So like configuring from active passive to the active and then SD-WAN. Right? So that is what is the configuration that is covered in this lab, right? So yeah, this is on the this point labs point. So and I believe that every day is a learning. So we should keep on learning every day. Learn each day one new topic. So that you get understand of that, right? And do in our labs, right? Remote labs that will be given, right? So one more thing advantage of that event is that you you can have the Wireshark capture over there also, right? So on a particular interface, if you want to capture it, traffic, say port 2, I want to capture the traffic, so I can do that. Okay.
Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible to you guys. Good
Yeah,
evening.
can you help? Good evening.
Yeah. So I hope the trainer has some internet connectivity issue. Not sure how it's working his side. So I hope you got all the details clear to us today's session, and I'm here to give you further more details towards the course enrollment and course details, access, and everything. Okay, and I'll be giving you all the details, and at the end, if you guys have any doubts or anything, you can just let me know. I'll be clearing your all the doubts related to course and all the access and materials. Okay, so let me start with my first slide. So as you can see here, so here will be like course syllabus and class schedule. So here this will be the two-in-one firewall combo course. So we have both two-in-one firewall combo course, three-in-one firewall combo course, and firewall mastery 5-in-1 course as well. So as of now, this is for two-in-one combo course, which covers Fortigate firewall and sorry. So here some mistake is there. Just a second. Fortigate Firewall, and the next one is PaloAlto Firewall. Okay, so the Fortigate Firewall covers NSA 4, and PaloAlto Firewall covers PCNSA and PCNSE, both the core papers. Okay, and the class schedule will be for Saturday and Sunday. Saturday. This will be going to be a weekend batch. Okay. From 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. IST. Okay, and the course duration will comes up for 4 months. Okay, every Saturday and Sunday, 2 hours of class on Saturday and Sunday, and the course duration will comes up for 4 months. 2 months for FortiGate and 2 months for Palo Alto if you are going for one by one. And if you are going for it at a time, that you'll be getting covered in 3 months as well. Okay. And the second thing is, let me move towards the course enrollment and access details. So here, what all access and materials you'll be going to get. Like once you are going to enroll for this course, you'll be getting the lifetime recording access of your classes, which you'll be attending through the Zoom meeting, and that will be recorded through the cloud, and it will be uploaded in the LMS. Okay, from the LMS, there you can access your class recordings. Once you are done with your class, the recordings are available after 1 hour. Okay, so meantime of uploading and all, the backend team will be taken care, and after 1 hour, the recordings will be visible in your LMS. Okay, and that will remain with you for lifetime access. Whenever you want, you can go through the recordings. And if in case if you missed out any class or particular class, so you can go to the recordings once the class is done after 1 hour, and the next class you can catch up on the same flow. Okay, and whenever you want, you can access it, and the access remains with you for lifetime. Okay, and secondly, we'll be providing you the 24/7 lab access, that you can access it totally remotely, 24/7 unlimited. Whenever you want, you can access the labs which are present on our servers and cloud servers. Okay, and here you'll be getting the 4 months of lab access for each firewall. Like for Fortigate Firewall, you'll be getting the 4 months of lab access, and for PaloAlto Firewall, you'll be getting the 4 months of lab access, that you can access it totally remotely, 24/7 unlimited. Whenever you want, you can access the labs. Okay, and we'll be providing you the dedicated materials like workbooks, PPTs, PDFs, step-by-step lab manuals. All the materials we will provide you, that you can download and you can keep it with you as well. And the G Drive access remains with you for lifetime. If in case if you missed out any material, you can re-download it once again from the G Drive links. Okay, and we'll be providing you the home lab setup too. Let's say if you have the good configuration of your system, then we'll be assisting you to set up a home lab on your personal laptop, on your personal servers. So one of our team member will connect with you. So you just need to download the given files from the G Drive. So you'll be required virtual machines, OVA file from our side, and some of the event client, so that you can easily take the telnet or Wireshark and putty. All these sessions you'll be getting to access it smoothly. From there, we'll be providing you all the materials, so you can easily download, and you can just let us know via a remote sharing screen, and one of our team member will connect with you, and we'll be doing the home lab setup on your laptop or on your server, and that will also remain with you for lifetime access once we did the setup. And we'll be providing you the 24/7 backend support from our team. Like if you are facing any issues, any queries regarding to the course, or regarding to the portal, or regarding to the labs, like while you are practicing the labs, if you stuck somewhere in between, or you are not able to move forward, in that case, you just need to raise a ticket on our support DL. One of our team member will connect with you, and we will resolve your issues accordingly in meantime. Okay, and like let's say your query related to your production issue or something, so you'll be getting all the guidance. Once you raise the ticket, the person will redirect to the exact person who can look into it, and you'll be getting the resolution with the reply back man. Okay, and yeah, so let me move towards the next slide. So